Hello and welcome to the next video in my challenge series. Today we will be seeing if I can beat Plants vs Zombies, but all the zombies are invisible. Now, we aren't just talking the zombies are invisible, we're talking the shadows, the Zamboni, its ice path, the ice sparkle, the smoke from when it's damaged, the bobsled, the digger zombies, pickaxe and dirt trail, the jack-in-the-box zombie, the catapult, the bungee zombies, bungee cord and target it uses to mark your plants, Zomboss, hell, even Zomboss's fire and ice balls are invisible. Everything's invisible.
Invisible cells for $29.95, but if you call now within the next 20 minutes, because you know we can't do this all day, you'll get a bunch of forgotten sprites you'll have to fix later absolutely free. Here's how you can order. Call 1-800-MyButterRules. That's right, 1-800-MyButterRules.
This means I'll have to heavily rely on sound cues to know when things come into existence on my screen. This will help just a bit, as I will be able to at least know what types of zombies have spawned. For example, the Zamboni's engine revving. Also, for this run, I'll be starting a new save file, as it feels like this will provide more of a challenge, as I will have to work with the plants I have unlocked and change my strategies accordingly. One last thing, I do write the script 10 levels at a time with note-taking after each level, meaning I'm writing all of this as I play through the challenge. Alright, now on to the... So fun fact, this will be my first time modding Plants vs Zombies, or making a mod for anything at all. I just used a patcher to get access to the animation folder. Then I had to go through and not just open all the sprites, but also erase them, then save them. This might not sound so bad until you realize all of PvZ's sprites are split into multiple parts. Let's take Kernel, for example. His sprite is split into 20 sprites. That's just for one plant. So guess how many sprites that would be for all 26 zombies? Got your numbers all locked in? Well, it's 763 sprites. That doesn't even include any sprites that were in other folders. What I ended up doing is loading all the sprites at once into an art program. Then, getting a macro and recording the keystrokes Ctrl-A, delete, Ctrl-S, Ctrl-W. Then, having that macro repeat that all 763 times while I did other productive stuff. Now, I tried the game after, and it worked. But there was some cleaning up I still had to do with the zombies' hair, the shadows, catapult zombies' wheels, etc. I went back in and I did all that, and hey, I got it working. Interesting fun fact, the plants share a shadow with the zombies, so I had to get rid of that PNG as well, therefore the plants won't have shadows this playthrough. Also, the catapult zombie and lawnmowers share wheels. That means after I got rid of them, now we have to see these abominations of lawnmowers the rest of the game. Don't worry, they still work because of hover technology or something. I also removed the zombie hand that pops up when you start adventure mode and added one small thing to a specific plant, but you'll see that later. That was pretty much it for setup. Now, let's finally get this challenge started. Now, welcome to the front yard. Level 1-1 didn't cause any problems as there was only one lane, but I did have to clean up 25 sprites I forgot to make invisible, mostly the zombie appendages that fall off as they get damaged, as well as their heads that pop off when they die. Level 1-2 is when I really realized how hard this could potentially get, as I lost my first lawnmower because I incorrectly guessed which lane the first zombie was in. Level 1-3 wasn't all that interesting, but the Conehead zombie gets introduced, and the cherry bomb we just unlocked is very helpful at the start of flags, as zombies will always spawn in all the lanes. Therefore, if we use a cherry bomb a second or two after a flag, we are pretty much guaranteed to blow up some zombies. I think it's kinda neat, because you know, they're like blown up, they're turned to ash. But I guess the ash would be invisible, huh? 1-4 is the first level where we have our full lawn. I ended up losing a lawnmower during setup, as it's pretty much a gamble if I can guess the lane the first zombie is in. But after that, I fully set up my defense and we were all good. So far, I think cheap plants will be good as I can get more of them on the field, and if I lose them, it's not that big of a deal. 1-5 is our first minigame level, being Walnut Bowling. This was hard, but I just alternated lanes and kept in mind where the explosion radius of the Explodinut would clear zombies, and we ended up beating it on the first try with no lawnmowers lost. That went better than I could have hoped for, to be honest. 1-6, I lost a lawnmower at the start to the first zombie. You'll notice this does happen a decent amount. The pole vaulter zombie's first appearance is in this level, and because I couldn't see the zombie selection and forgot they first appeared during this level, I did lose a few plants to them, but none that were devastating. Also, the potato mine that I just got is a pretty useful plant, even when I can't see the zombies, as it's cheap, and I can use it to scout a lane at the beginning to see where the first zombie is. 1-7 is up next, and I once again lose the gamble to the first zombie. I did place sunflowers on the front of my defense to trigger the pole vaulter zombies. I did try the snow pea during this level, but they aren't great, as they're more expensive than regular pea shooter and the slowing effect doesn't let me see where the zombies are, unlike a later plant. Level 1-8 is when the buckethead zombie is introduced, and now would be a good time to pause. Let's talk about one very important thing for this challenge. That being sound effects. Hitting a zombie makes a sound effect, and some have unique sound effects. Let's talk about the biggest threat as of now, the buckethead zombie. He has a very distinct sound effect when hit. This can be used to tell me not only when one is spawned, but also what lane they are in. Now, sounds simple enough, right? If you can tell right where one is, you can focus it down. Well, there are a few factors to keep in mind. 1. During waves, zombies kinda stack up, or one zombie in front of the other, meaning if a normal zombie is in front of a buckethead, I'll have no idea the buckethead is even there. 2. Being, well, what if there's 2 bucketheads on the field and I can't tell which lanes they're in? Well, I have a solution that'll work most of the time for that problem. If I pay attention to my plant's projectiles to see what projectiles hit what lane and in what order, I will know if there's a buckethead in that lane. Let's pull up a visual example of what I just said. Let's say there are 3 lanes, each with a pea shooter, and there is 1 buckethead in 2 of those lanes. Now, let's say the pea shooter's projectiles hit in lane 1, 3, then 2. If I watch the peas as they hit the invisible zombies and I hear, that means there is a buckethead zombie in lanes 1 and 2. Now, the problem with this strategy is sometimes there's too much happening for me to fully pay attention, and sometimes the buckethead is behind a zombie, so I might assume there's only one. Overall, even if I only pay a little attention, I will be able to know that there's a buckethead on the field somewhere, and that'll alert me to try to figure out what lane it's in. Now that my lecture on sound is over, we can get back to level 1-8. I started to put my sunflowers in the top row guarded by a potato mine for some cheap protection, as getting any of my sun producers killed this early is just bad. I saved my lawnmower this time, only for it to instantly be taken away from me. I use a chomper whenever I hear a bucket for a quick dispatch, and I'm still using cherry bombs every flag. We end up finishing the level with little to no issues. 1-9 is more the same and goes down with no problem, and with no lawnmowers lost either. But I'm hesitant to use the repeater we just unlocked, as grouping my power into one plant, while nice and space efficient, would be more devastating if I lost it. I think I'll only use more powerful, expensive plants after the lawn is set up with basic defense so I can see where the zombies are. And 1-10 is our first look at conveyor belt levels. Overall, not that bad. I used cherry bombs whenever I heard a bucket or when a wave started, and no lawnmowers were used either. That's all daytime has for us, so now it's time to drink some coffee and enter... It's now nighttime, meaning no sun will fall from the sky, but we're gonna get a whole arsenal of shrooms. Let's see how good they'll be for the challenge. To start off the nighttime front yard levels, we have level 2-1. This level was pretty easy, all because of one incredible plant, the puff shroom. Why are they so good? Well, they are free and only take 7.5 seconds to recharge. I'll be using puff shroom in every nighttime level because of that. Other things of note during this level is we now have to deal with graves, which besides getting in the way of planting, also spawn a zombie on the final flag. Granted, we know where the zombies are going to spawn, so it isn't that big of a deal. Newspaper zombie was also introduced, but he didn't cause any trouble. Plus, he has a unique sound effect when he loses his paper and gets upset, so that helps a lot. Last but certainly not least, we can start collecting coins. This'll later get us seed slots 7 and 8, and then a bunch of helpful stuff in Dave's shop down the line. I'm looking at you, Rake. but we'll get all that in due time. Level 2-2, we start using sun shrooms over sunflowers as we just unlocked them and they're better for night levels. It's crucial we don't let any sun shrooms die because they need time to grow to produce full-size sun, and if they die, it'll massively hinder our sun production. There were bucket heads in this level, but they didn't cause any problems, as a general strategy I started using was to put walnuts in front of all the gravestones. 2-3 introduces screen door zombies, which have the same sound effect when hit as a bucket head, so whenever I hear a metal clang sound, I'll make sure to have a fume shroom in that lane, in case it's a screen door zombie, as fume shroom will kill him pretty fast. 2-4 starts out great, as I get to buy our 7th seed slot from Dave, meaning we can bring an extra plant every level. I also got Gravebuster, so now we can deal with graves in every level, and get a little extra cash on the side. And wouldn't you know it, but one of the graves dropped a diamond! Ooh, diamond! In case you don't know, it's a pretty rare drop when graves are destroyed. Other than that, some pole vaulters caused a little bit of trouble, but nothing that noteworthy. Now we make it to 2-5, aka Whack-A-Zombie. And let me tell you, I thought this would be kinda easy, because you can see the dirt when the zombies spawn, but if you miss a single zombie and lose track of them, this becomes a minigame out of hell. You have to kill them all when they spawn, and click fast enough to kill cone heads and bucket heads while keeping track of the other gravestones. You need to use sound cues to know if you've hit a bucket or cone head, because you can end up hitting them once and thinking you killed a zombie, and then you lose. I won on the 3rd attempt by turning off the music and having only the sound effects on. It was pretty close, but then one lawnmower and a potato mine saved my ass at the end. This has been the only level I've died on so far. Also, as a side note, on the 2nd attempt, I got another diamond, which is cool. Yep. I missed a single one. A diamond! Diamonds! With that level down, it's on to level 2-6, which introduces the football zombie. He has no special sound effects, so the only way I could figure out where he was based on how fast he was eating my plants, then moving on to the next one. But it's okay, I took him out with a hypno shroom. Is that a football zombie? I think that is, based on his eating speed. I think that was a football zombie. On to level 2-7, where not all that much happened. I used Scaredy Shroom in the back line and spammed Puff Shrooms. Football Zombie was in this level, but he was no problem. I have no idea where he was, but he must have died from a cherry bomb or something. Now 2-8 has some stuff to talk about as Dancing Zombie shows up. It's very easy to tell when he spawns because you can see the dirt of his backup dancers and the music changes. I did have to restart as I forgot to get rid of his spotlight, but I fixed it. It was just 2 more sprites I had to change. There he is. I did not get... Shit, I wonder where he is. We also got our strongest nighttime asset, aka Ice Shroom, as his icicles show up at the bottom of zombies' feet when they're frozen in place. I think this is fair game, as we can't use it during the pool, only the night pool, and I can't use it on the roof until I get Coffee Bean. This is one of the biggest reasons we're playing on a new file, so I can't just use Coffee Bean and Ice Shroom. The level itself, though, didn't pose that much of a threat. 2-9 started off great, as I got to buy our 8th seed slot for 5k. That was pretty fast, but it was all thanks to the 2 diamonds we got. Overall, it was a pretty uneventful level, but Doom Shroom does help us clear the full wave of zombies rather than just 3 lanes like the Cherry Bomb. I also want to step in here and say some levels that we'll talk about have less stuff going on, but if you want to see the full run, I'll link a playlist in the description to my VOD channel where you can watch the full run. There will also be a link to my Twitch in the description if you want to watch my challenges live. Anyway, to end off the nighttime front yard, we have level 2-10, the next conveyor belt level. Overall, pretty easy as most of the Dash 10s are because it's a lot of spam. Well, it's time to move on to the... Well, now the zombies are trying our backyard. 3-1. Sadly, it's daytime, meaning I can't use my mushrooms as they're nocturnal. Back to having the same problem we had during the daytime front yard levels, being finding out where the first zombie is because now I have way less spammable plants. This level also introduces us to the Ducky Tube zombie. They're like a normal zombie, but in an inner tube that lets them go on the water. They make a splash sound effect when they get into the water. This zombie can have variants, which means there can also be cone heads or bucket heads. One lucky thing is that I can see the splash effect the zombies have when they come out of the pool on the final flag. I also have a feeling I will need a lot more sun production for this set of levels compared to nighttime front yard. This first level goes down with no problems though. Level 3-2. I had a squash fail to jump backwards and kill a zombie at the start, so I lost a lawnmower. But overall, I am very happy to have squash unlocked, as it's a very, very good plant against tough zombies like a bucket head, for last second clutches if I miss a zombie, or like gargantuars in the future. We also unlocked minigames.
Write that down, write that down!
And one thing I remember during this level is that I have to watch out about putting plants too far forward in the pool, as the zombies that spawn in the pool on the final flag can appear right on top of your plants. Now on to level 3-3, where we are introduced to the second new zombie of the backyard, being the snorkel zombie. Snorkel zombies have a unique ability where once they get into the pool, they are too low for your plants to see them. The only times your plants can hit them is when they surface to eat your plants. This is excluding instant plants such as cherry bombs. This might seem like they'd be a massive problem, right? How can I even tell there's a zombie in the pool if my plants aren't shooting? Well, when they get into the pool, they don't just step in like the other zombies and make a small splash. They jump in, which causes a bigger splash effect, so I can tell when they enter the water. To take care of them, I opted to put walnuts in the water on lily pads, so it'll make the snorkel zombie come up to eat them, where I can then dispatch them. I know it's not the most interesting solution, but hey, it works. Other than that, not much to talk about for 3-3, so on to 3-4. Granted, there isn't much to talk about for this level either. The only thing of note was some pole vaulting zombies that caused me a little trouble, but Squash got them because he's the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now, unlike 3-4, 3-5 has some run-changing stuff. What do you mean, you might be asking? Well, Crazy Dave's shop is now open. I rushed in and bought the pool cleaners, aka lawnmowers for the water, and the rake, so we can deal with the first zombie with ease. Okay, so pool cleaner and rake. Now that our shopping spree is over, time to get into the level, so welcome to Big Trouble Little Zombie. In this minigame, all the zombies are small, so they die faster, but there are more of them, they eat plants faster, and move at 2 times their normal speed. My first run was going very well, but I had to restart because I forgot to get rid of the dust that the football zombie kicks up when running. I literally didn't notice it until this level, but it's fixed now. Oh! I didn't notice that. Okay. That's a pause. Do you notice a sprite that I missed? Overall, the level wasn't that bad. I got pretty lucky with the mix of plants I got on the conveyor belt. This level was done on the first try, not including the restart I had to do. Level 3-6. This level introduces the Zomboni. I can tell when it spawns because of the engine revving. Then, I have to see what lane the metal clanking is coming from like I explained earlier in the video. I did need to kill them fast so they don't create an ice trail, but lucky for us, we just got spikeweed. And that's what I'll be using to kill them fast. Well, that and squash, maybe jalapeno as well if things get out of hand. Level 3-7, we re-upped the rake. I am not gonna say it every time, so just assume I buy the rake when it runs out. I used spikeweed to kill the zombonis and more walnuts to stop snorkel zombies. I couldn't get rid of the Zombonis explosion because I couldn't find the file, which sucks because it feels out of place. I think the animation might be pre-made so I can't edit it, or I could be completely wrong. I didn't redo the level because of it, because it doesn't give away where the Zomboni is, it just kinda feels off. Also, fun fact, I'm pretty sure the stuff that flies off the Zomboni when it explodes is the same particles that are used on Zomboss as the file names are the same. So I was able to get rid of that at least. 3-8 has the last new zombie of the backyard, the Dolphin Rider zombie. He has a very distinct sound, and his splash is big when he jumps into the water. I'll either have lily pads in the way to make him jump over, since we don't have tall nut yet, or tangle kelp to take him out. I also use torchwood here, and he shreds even with only 2P shooters. There's only one problem with torchwood, and it's the fact that it makes the sound effect of the peas sound the same no matter what zombie you're hitting, so you get more DPS but at a cost. That's something I'll have to keep in mind, but we beat this level with no problems. 3-9 is here, and we use Tall Nut. He is super helpful at keeping out pole vaulters and dolphin rider zombies. This level does have zombonis, pole vaulters, and dolphin rider zombies, but with a mix of spikeweed, tall nut, some more attacking plants, and a few instants like cherry bomb, we take down this level no problem. I do want to say one strat I use sometimes to see if a zombie is a pole vaulter is to see how fast they're coming down the lane. I can see that speed by how far they have moved since the last projectile hit them. 3-10, the next conveyor belt level, and I don't have much to say, mostly spam like all the others. I will say, you can tell what lane a Zomboni is in because it'll be hit by a P sooner because its hitbox is bigger than a normal zombie. With those 10 pool levels down, it's now time to move on to the second to last set of levels. Well, seeing that it's nighttime, that means the mushrooms are back, baby! That means we have our all-powerful Puff Shroom and Ice Shroom. These sets of levels also have fog. What does it do? Well, it's there so we have a harder time seeing the zombies. Oh, wait, the fog does literally nothing to us except make it harder for us to see when we're planting. 4-1 starts us off with the Jack-in-the-Box zombie being introduced. He plays music, so it's very easy to tell when he spawns. I do have to kill him fast, otherwise he'll explode, killing any plants in a 3x3 area. At the end of the level, we unlock the Plantern. They're completely useless for this playthrough, unless I want to see where I'm planting, so maybe it's not that bad. 4-2, the football zombie was in this level, and I killed him without noticing. One Jack-in-the-Box zombie did manage to explode, but didn't do major damage. Overall, this level had nothing crazy. I just used scaredy shrooms in the back with a mix of sea shrooms, puff shrooms, and walnuts with a cherry bomb here and there. On to 4-3 where balloon zombies introduced. They have a balloon sound effect when they get on screen, and I was able to take them out with cactus because I got lucky with the placement. But now at the end of this level, I got Blover, which takes care of any balloon zombies on screen and gets rid of the fog for a short time. 4-4 was nothing too crazy aside from having both Balloon Zombie and Dolphin Rider Zombie, but a Blover or two took out the balloons and a couple tall nuts blocked the Dolphin Rider. I will say I am very glad I used 2 columns of sun shrooms because my sun needs are very high, higher than the sun itself. 4-5, Crazy Dave gave me $1,000 for his magic taco.
You what?
He also has some new items in his shop, the Gloom Shroom and Cattail. Now, on to Vase Breakers. This level is pretty hard when it comes to not being able to see the zombies. My strategy involves seeing what vases don't give plants, then using my sound effect strategy to hear what kind of zombie we're dealing with. The key here is to go slow and not rush things. Overall, we only lost 1 lawnmower, and Dave is happy we're smashing vases with him like we smashed your 4-6, the Digger Zombie is introduced. But before I get to that, I did have to restart because while I got rid of his mining animation, there were still 10 more dirt sprites. So I got rid of them and we restarted the level. I used a niche game mechanic where if a potato mine is dug under, the Digger Zombie will explode. We killed both Digger Zombies in the top lane this way. Besides the Digger Zombie's digging sound effect, we can also tell where he is if we use Scaredy Shroom, as both will go down in the top or bottom 2 lanes. This will tell us at least if he's in the top or bottom lane. You can also use a Cherry Bomb on top of a Digger Zombie while they're underground to get rid of them. This level was beaten without the use of Split P just for fun. Also, we unlocked Puzzle Mode. 4-7, the Digger Zombies were not a problem as there was only 1 in this level. This level did, however, show off the biggest problem with the fog. It really screwed up my sound effect strategy we were talking about earlier. How does this level show it off? Well, I couldn't tell where a single bucket head zombie was due to the fact I couldn't see my projectiles hitting the zombies. This means I couldn't prioritize it nearly as much, which could have been very, very bad. So the fog is much worse than I originally thought. At least when I bring Blover for balloon zombies, I can get rid of the fog for a while. I'd rather bring Blover as it does get rid of balloon zombies as opposed to using a seed slot for just Plantern who doesn't attack. Now it's time for the last new zombie of Nighttime Pool. On level 4-8, it's Pogo Zombie. Time to whip out the tall nuts.
Yep.
Pogo Zombie has a sound effect of him jumping on his pogo. One of them got to my lawnmower because I couldn't get the tall nuts up in time. He jumps over pretty much everything, and Ice Shroom doesn't stop him, so if he sneaks through while I don't have a tall nut, I'm pretty much cooked. But we have a solution to our metal problem that we just unlocked at the end of this level, the Magnet Shroom. Now time to use it on 4-9. One thing about Magnet Shroom is I won't be able to tell what metal object it has taken. Regardless, the less metal objects that the zombies have, the better. I will need to place a few down to make sure no metal gets by this TSA type plant. I put a lot of faith in the Magnet Shroom and it delivered. It took all the buckets and pogo sticks. I do have to keep in mind its range of how far it can grab things. Overall, this level was not too bad, and that was in part thanks to Blover so I could see where I was planting easier. The final nighttime pool level, 4-10. It's the next conveyor belt level, and it's very different. It's a dark and stormy night where only lightning flashes let you see the screen. This level has no music, just the sound of your plants, the zombies, and the rain. The level has 2 flags, and everything was going good until I heard a sound, one that I'd forgotten. Then I heard it again. At that moment, Zeph, my mod, asked why I lost a pool cleaner. I had forgotten balloon zombies could go over the pool where I had placed no cacti. This resulted in the second level I had died on this whole challenge, all because of one dumb mistake. I at least did get a diamond on this attempt. There? What? There we go. Wait. Oh shit, you're right. You know what? Oh! That's what that sound was. That was balloon zombies. Because I don't have cactuses in the water, I forgot that they could go over the water. I'm fucking stupid. I completely blanked. Shit. I would like a blower, please, in case they're in the water. Uh-oh. There's a chance I could just lose right here if they're in that wrong lane. I don't know if I heard them pop. Oh no. 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 No! I tried it again, being more careful, and we beat it with no trouble. Well, with that all done and dusted, it's time to get on to the last step of the challenge. Well, the sun is back to shining, this time on the roof. That means the mushrooms are once again asleep. For now. With the roof, every plant must be planted on a flower pot to be used, almost like the lily pads in the pool. For the first zombie introduced on the roof, it's Bungee Zombie. He can be a nuisance as we can't see what plant he's going to be targeting to grab, but it's easy to tell when he comes down as he screams. While he hovers in place, we can hit him, so there's a chance I notice when he is and I can stop him. I also need to keep in mind the fact that Bungee Zombies bring down extra zombies on the final flag, kinda like extra zombies appearing in the pool. Now, in this level, we have a set amount of pots to plant on, but after this level, we'll go from 5 columns of pots to starting with only 4 columns, then down to 3. And we'll have to place our own flower pots for 25 sun each. Good thing they have a fast recharge time. 5-2, and Dave's got some new items for us. This includes the roof cleaners, spike rock, and golden magnet. The only one I care about right now is the roof cleaner, because as you might have noticed, we don't have lawnmowers on our roof. Therefore, no last line of defense. We buy them immediately, and they have wheels! Okay, we buy them immediately. And they have wheels. All this level has shown me is that Bungee Zombies will just steal your plants, and we don't have a way to get around this. Yet. I also need to keep in mind how far in my defense Bungee Zombies can place other zombies, the same way I needed to during the pool. Besides that, it wasn't too hard, and Squash is still the GOAT.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Zeph. There he is. Ooh, the extra mod is in place. Mustache, 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 mustache. 5-3, we have my boy Kernel Polt, and he's sporting a spruce mustache. This was the other small change I made in this mod. Side note here, but modding this game was pretty fun, even if I had to correct some stuff and didn't do all that much stuff to make it transparent. But it makes me want to do modding more. Anyway, back to the level at hand, and we're down to 3 columns of starting plots, plus now Ladder Zombie is here. He can put his ladder down to help him and other zombies climb over tall nuts, walnuts, and pumpkins. There is an accompanying sound effect when he places down the ladder. He also moves fast, and his ladder blocks some damage from the front, but we're using lobbing plants, so this is ignored. Speaking of our Polts, you may have noticed that butter shows up on zombies' heads. Now, you might be thinking, hey, isn't that cheating because you can tell where the zombies are? Well, guess what? Kernel Polt has transcended to a being of higher power and is above you mortals. They have transcended time and space, and butter shall reign supreme. If you have a problem with this, you also probably have a problem with Ice Shroom, and if you do, you can yell at me about it in the comments. Also, thank you for getting this far in the video. For the level itself, I have been using a strategy at the start so I can kill the first 2 zombies to put more sunflowers down, so I can jumpstart my sun production. The strategy is to use the rake, and then let the zombie nibble the first pot and take them out with a squash. The rest of the level was just so much Kernel Polt and butter, it's giving me war flashbacks. We did beat the level with no problems though. 5-4, and at the end of the last level we got Coffee Bean. That means we can use all the mushrooms we want. We will be wanting TSA Magnet Shroom back for this level, as we will not only have to deal with ladder zombies, but football zombies and pogo zombies. The Magnet Shroom was reliable as always, and the butter helped a ton, so we beat it no problem. 5-5, we start by unlocking the Zen Garden and getting Dave's Zen Garden shop items. I will not be buying any, at least in this video. We grow our own sprouts, and now onto the actual level. So in this minigame, there are a ton of bungee zombies stealing your plants, airdropping in zombies. It's a conveyor belt level, but the catch is you only get flower pots, cherry bombs, pumpkins, and chompers. It's a very slow level, and gives all any percent speedrunners of this game PTSD. The only thing of note is I somehow got rid of the cherry bomb's explosion. My guess is it happened back when I was trying to get rid of the Zombonis explosion. 5-6, the catapult zombie is introduced. He stays far back on your roof and pelts your plants with powerful projectiles until they pop. If you fail to take him out, he'll start to roll forward and steamroll your plants, so it's best to kill him in a timely manner. The way I can tell he's on the field is that he has a sound effect for him shooting the catapult. He was no match for my Kernel army, the Butter Brigade. We stunned most in place and blew him up. This level was handled very well by Kernel Polt, and instant plants such as Cherry Bomb and Jalapeno. The other plant that was a beast in this level was, of course, the squash.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
5-7, we no longer need to live in fear of the bungee, and to a lesser extent the catapults. Why, you might ask? It's because I just got the umbrella leaf, which will protect my plants in a 3x3 area from those pests. Because of the umbrella leaf, this level was a piece of cake because I didn't have to deal with anything from the sky. 5-8 is the introduction of the final zombies, except for Yeti because we're not going to be seeing him. It's the Gargantuar and Imp. This behemoth has the most health out of any base zombie and will one-shot anything except Spike Rock. He can tank a squash, potato mine, jalapeno, or cherry bomb. You would have to hit him with any of those 2 to take him down. At half health, he throws the Imp from his back, and it flies a few tiles forward. Now, the Imp is weak, but he moves like he's on crack and eats super fast. I can tell when a Gargantuar is on the field when he smashes one of my plants because there is a sound effect and the plants get flattened. With the power of butter and explosions, we killed the massive beast, but he will be back. I just know it. 5-9, this level is crazy. Not only does it have bungee zombies, but it has catapult zombies, ladder zombies, jack-in-the-box zombies, and Gargantuars. I played this level very, very greedily, wanting to get melon polts out ASAP, and we ended up having some close calls, scrambling for more sun production as zombies ate our barely defended lanes. In the end, we won with no roof cleaners lost. Sounds like it's about time for the big fight. 5-10, this is it, the final battle against Dr. Edgar George Zomboss. As Dave gets yoinked off to the heavens by invisible bungee zombie, the fight starts. This fight will be hard with all the sound effects going on, as well as him placing zombies everywhere. My only hope is to find out what lane they are in with Kernel and Ice Shroom, as well as what lanes my plants are attacking in. One of the hardest parts of this fight is when he does his fire or ice ball, as I won't know which lane it's in till it starts crushing plants. Each ice ball has the same sound effect, I'm pretty sure. If it's a fireball, I can just use an ice shroom anywhere, but if it's an ice ball, I have to place a jalapeno in that lane. Though it doesn't just crush plants, it also crushes roof cleaners. This is how I lost my first attempt. I didn't place a jalapeno in time and it crushed my cleaner, which then later, when a pogo zombie jumped over my melon pult, ended up killing me. On my first attempt, I noticed that when I killed an ice ball, it created particles, so after a bit of looking, I found the snowflake particles and I got rid of them for attempt 2. On attempt 2, the ice balls took out 2 cleaners. Then, we had 2 gargantuars in lanes that couldn't handle it. Hell, to rub salt in the wound, he threw a camper van right at my single melon I just put down. We ended up losing again. I need to always have jalapenos on me and at least 1 ice shroom. On the third attempt, we ended up winning with no roof cleaners lost. It got close at times, but with enough ice shrooms, jalapenos, cabbage, melons, and of course the mighty Kernel Pults, we beat Zomboss, and got to hear the epic Zombies on Our Lawn song that I can't play in fear of copyright. But, with my mod, it makes me look schizophrenic. There are zombies there, I swear, I'm not as crazy as Dave. Plus we get to see Dave just normal bungee jumping. I will say, I know that there were some explosion effects at the end, and the fireballs being destroyed also had flame particles, but I'm gonna still count that as a win. Because sure, I missed those sprites, but it was after they were already defeated, and the fireball technically isn't a zombie in the first place. I will try to fix them up in case I do any other videos with this mod that I made. And well... Thank you all so much for watching and getting this far in the video. This challenge video was super fun to make, from making the mod to the playthrough itself. Overall, this challenge took about 12 hours and 6 minutes, including the run and making the mod. I stream a lot of my challenge runs over on my Twitch, twitch.tv/captain__kernel, which is linked below if you'd like to try and catch them live. If you'd like to see the full run with no edits and a lot of note-taking, you can go and watch the playlist linked in the description, as it's over on my VOD channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later. Huh. I can't believe that run's over. That was crazy. But what's this?